Hi, welcome to a brief webinar on the art of cold calling. My name is Leslie M. Rubenstein-Pessock and I'm from LAR Consultancy Ltd. So before we continue with the webinar, a word about our sponsors. The Best Growth Hub is a one-stop shop for free and impartial business support for Essex-based businesses. And they bring together business support advice, training and events such as webinars and workshops and networking opportunities. And they also provide access to finance and all of this from a single point of contact. They have a team of expert business advisors and navigators who, after carrying out a needs assessment, will provide you with support either directly or they'll pass you on to others that can help your business to grow. So a bit about my background. I spent close to 20 years managing technology and innovation centers, working with the tenants therein in 2 countries. And I've spent many years doing local and international business development, helping companies to grow through relationship building and also by making them more efficient. And I've worked mainly with innovation and technology businesses in a range of technology sectors, but I've also worked with low tech and middle tech. So the workshop itself, which is an interactive workshop with peer-to-peer learning, will involve all of the following topics. Today we're just going to touch on some of these in a webinar format, but to really teach the art of cold calling, it needs to be, in my opinion, an interactive workshop, and it will include the steps involved in a successful cold call, what it takes to have a successful cold call, how one should prepare, do's and don'ts, how do you get past the gatekeeper, and then when you do get past the gatekeeper, how do you engage your prospect? There is an analogy with a sales process. And we'll look at some examples of good and bad cold calls, and we'll do some role play. But today we're going to provide a few tips on how to develop your telephone personality to get you on your way to becoming much better at this. So you would need to start with the product knowledge. You can't sell a product without knowing the ins and outs. And also, I would say the same for services. I've actually trained sales teams and become aware of individuals on the team that really don't know what they're selling and they don't understand the value of it. Worse than that, sometimes they have understood that, but they haven't connected with the product. They don't believe in it. They're not passionate about it. And I don't know about you, but I won't buy off a bored salesperson. If that person is bored by the product and service, why would I buy from them unless I'm desperate to have the service in spite of the salesperson? And I'm sure you don't want to be a salesperson who people buy from because they're desperate for the product. I would imagine you would like to gain a wider market share than that. So the ABC is really understanding your products and services by the sector. In other words, according to the industrial sector you're selling in, there might be different benefits in different industrial sectors. And then by bundling, in other words, if they buy service A, will they also probably want B and C? Amazon's great at this. When you click on something you want, they'll have a pop-up saying other clients were interested in this as well, and then they will upsell other products. You should be able to do that and know which products and services go with other products and services. And as I mentioned earlier, you have to believe in the products in order to sell them well, and you need to really understand the benefit to your prospect. So don't get bogged down with features unless it's a highly technical device that you're selling to a highly technical person. You would want to sell the story, the benefits. You want to talk into the pain points of the client. And you need to understand what those pain points are. And then you need to change the story according to with whom you're having a conversation. And you would do that by your listening skills. And there's a tip for you. If you want to be a great salesperson, a great cold caller, you have to improve your listening ability. What are they saying? What are they not saying? How are they saying it? What what pain points do they have, and so on. So preparation is key. And when you do know your products and services back to front and the value and so on, rehearse the opening sentence for that particular prospect and be ready to be stopped by a gatekeeper. More often than not, a receptionist may answer, or an assistant or an executive assistant may answer. And that person is not necessarily the person you need to be selling to. Build a relationship. People buy from people. Build a rapport. They're not buying from companies, they're buying from you. So how you come across is key. And remember, conversations are really like a dance. They say something, you react. You say something, they react. And actually, it becomes a dance. If you become a great conversational dancer, you'll do well on cold calls. You'll also do well in face to face. So try to stand outside of yourself and see how you are appearing. Try to hear how you're sounding to the other person. Are you coming up as an irritating interrupter of their busy day schedule? Or are you actually going to solve a problem that they have? Have you got something of value to offer? If you don't come across as the latter, they're going to close you down very fast. And if you're stressed, the strain will come through in your voice. So relax or don't make the call. And then again, smile. They'll hear that smile. And be confident and bold. And then the last thing you do before you pick up the phone is make sure you're in listening mode. If you don't prepare, you're going to look like a deer caught in the headlights. And you will freeze when you get through to your prospect, if you get through, and if you get past the gatekeeper. One of the things we discuss and look at and play with in the workshop is how to get past the gatekeeper. Another key tip for you is to ask questions. So determine what your prospects' needs are by asking questions and listen. Build confidence and trust. Build a relationship through asking questions. This will help the prospect to consider issues they may never even have thought of. And by asking questions and their reactions, it will help you to showcase your products and services USPs, otherwise known as unique selling points. So again, listen, listen, listen. I can't stress that enough. In our workshops, we do work on your listening ability and help you to improve on your listening ability. That is absolute paramount. And if you're calling from a call center, be aware that you're listening to others and they're listening to you, and the bad habits are contagious. So in Britain, we have lots of habits such as we'll say, is David there at all? What does at all actually mean? It does sound like you don't know David very well. Sort of. Words like obviously this, obviously that. Often it's not obvious, and it's just a word that you don't need. Literally is an awful habit. Most often it's used when things aren't literal at all. There you said, I said at all, but in that context, at all was required. Using the word like several times in a sentence, very bad habit. Using the words at the end of the day, what does that actually mean? Don't use it. And then know when to stop discussing football or any sport. It's a great way to open a conversation. However, know when to stop. And remember, these people aren't your friends unless you have a long-standing relationship. And equally, don't moan about them if the call didn't go your way. Rather than that, have a look at why the call didn't go your way and learn from it. So if I had to summarize what makes a great cold caller, having the ability to listen is one, and having the ability to dance is number two. Here's a testimonial to the workshop itself that I'd like to share with you today. I would love to have you come on one of my workshops. I love delivering them. They're a lot of fun. And you also gain a lot of value out of them. And I did promise you more information on the Best Growth Hub. If you're an FX-based business, you're lucky because they can also provide access to finance as well as the business support I announced earlier, not just for capital purchases, but also for consulting and business mentoring. And you can book an appointment with them via these contact details. And if you would like to get in touch with myself, please do. If you're interested in any of our workshops, you can either contact Best or myself and get onto a waiting list, and we'll let you know when the next available one is. So thank you so much for your attention today, and I hope it was of value and you'll improve at your cold calling. Take care.